So today I'm doing a little bit of a different video because I've been wanting to share just the way that I do pricing for my clients. Now, I've been doing woodworking for about 5 years, and out of those 5 years, I've been selling stuff for about four of them. Now, the first few years, I didn't have many clients. I honestly didn't know what I was doing. Not that I know now, but I definitely have a little bit of a better understanding of what to do when it comes to pricing for my situation, because everyone's situation is different. One of the disclaimers that I will give you is that I'm not a full-time woodworker. I have a full-time job. This is just a side hustle. It's just a hobby that I make some money with. And so what I charge my clients, if I was trying to make a living, I probably would need to charge more because it doesn't cover everything, and I know that. But the fact that I only do this on the weekends and some nights, then it gives me the freedom to charge less because I ask for a longer time. So usually I ask clients for about 6 to 8 weeks before a project is completed. They seem to be okay with that. I seem to be okay with that as well because it gives me freedom to focus on my family, on my main job, but still carry a project along slowly. And because of that, then I try to charge a little bit less because the clients have to wait. Although I have a formula that I use, I still play around, right? $600 for a planter box where my market only calls for maybe $250, and so I try to see what is the market around me charging for that specific piece or something like it, and how much I think my client can afford. Sometimes I've been able to sell a table for $1,200 that maybe in a different market you can sell it for 2,000, whereas in a different market you might only be able to sell it for 600. I don't know, but again, today is just going to be hopefully helpful if you're starting in woodworking, or maybe so you can kind of compare your pricing with mine and just my process. But I usually start with, okay, how much is the material for a project? For this one, this is actually the TV Center dot kennel that I just did, so these are real numbers. I needed some maple, a quarter. I needed some 5.5 boards, some 2.5 face frames, maple as well, plywood, metal bars, hardware, and finish. I had this here where if I need let's say 30 instead, then that automatically changes. But also I can change the price per board foot depending on my hardware, right, or my lumber. So let's say that they charge me $230 and I need 30, then that updates right there. So going back to this, I was able to kind of roughly figure out, okay, if I price my material correctly, I'm going to need about $583 just to get the material to build a project. And so this number I transfer up here. Now, if you notice, I rounded up because I always try to give some cushion there. And so I'm thinking, okay, about 600 for material. And here's where I start adding a few things that you have to think about, right? This is just literally the things that I need for the build, but it's not counting sandpaper, it's not counting glue, screws, gas, that electricity, wear and tear for the tools. So usually what I do is I add 10%. So out of this materials, 10%. So I have it laid down here on a formula. So it's B2 times 0.1. And if you want to do, let's say, 20%, you can just change that. And so what I do is 10% for overhead, and that just adds a little bit more cushion for the things that that are hard to measure, right? Now, at the same time, I want my business to continue expanding, so I've added 5% of savings. So those $30 right there usually go straight into my savings account. I mean, you can take that off if you want it, or you can add more. I think at some point I had it at 10% or 15%, but I decided that was too much, and so I took that down to 5%. I've added 20% for waste and mistakes. If I calculated this number, the 583, correctly, then I should be good to go. But let's be honest, right? We all make mistakes. Sometimes I thought I needed more wood, or I thought I needed less wood and I need to go back and buy another board, or maybe I messed up on a part and I have to remake a whole part. So I've played with this number. I've done 10%, I've done 15, and I've decided that 20 usually covers if I make a big mistake. If I waste a whole plywood sheet, then I can go buy another one and still be okay when it comes to how much I want to profit. And we'll get to that in a second. So right now I have 20%. And then the next one is a client gift, something that I've decided to do. A photographer friend of mine actually gave me this advice of, hey, make sure that you are gifting your clients something. What I do is I make some coasters out of the material Those are super simple, just square with a chamfer around and branded. So I do some nice coasters for them. I get them a mug that is branded with my brand. I get them some stickers, and I get them some Costa Rican coffee because I'm from Costa Rica. So that's adding a little bit of the character of who I am as a maker. And I've come to find out that $50 covers for all of that: the stickers, the coffee, the wrapping stuff, the mug, and everything else. I think for this one, actually, I also added organic dog treats because it was a dog kennel. So you can change things up if your clients and they like, I don't know, sodas, Dr. Pepper, then you can add some there for them. It's just a nice gesture. They're not expecting it. And when you come with their table or with a kennel and hey, I also have a gift for you, that's usually a huge deal. So once you add all of that, I get the $160. Now, right there in my mind, this is kind of the bottom line that I need to get the project completed. But at this point, I'm not thinking about profit just yet. Here is where the bottom of this formula comes in. Here is when I decide, okay, how much do I want to make? Now, I know some of you might say, okay, that's very arbitrary. And yes, it is. I mean, it all depends on the project. If it's a big table that I know is going to take a lot of work, I might want to earn a little bit more. If it's a small planner, like I'd say, although I might want to get $500, that's just too much. So I play with this number according to what the market is telling me, what the piece is, what the materials are. Is cheaper materials, so I think I'm going to charge cheaper. Again, this is totally up to you. So for this one, I decided that 600 was good. Again, let's say that you want to make 1,000 profit, then that brings the total to 1860, right? The 860 cover all this up here, and the 1,000 is your profit, is the money that I take home, if you will. So for this one, I decided that 600 was fair in regards to what the time that I was going to put into this piece, knowing that I've made something like this before. 1460 is what I charge the client without taxes. I add sales tax in Texas is 8.25, I believe, of sales tax. I have that already on my invoice. It's 1460 plus sales tax. Now, the reason why I don't do labor, I know I've seen many people say, okay, figure out how much you want to make per hour. It's because, like I said, I'm a hobbyist and I don't really try to see how many hours it takes me to fulfill a project. I just say, okay, it's going to be 8 weeks. You can probably hear my dog in the background. It's going to be 8 weeks. And then, if it takes me 40 hours to complete the project, great. If it takes me 120 hours to complete the project, it's fine with me. Again, it just gives me some flexibility to, okay, it doesn't matter how much I work. I'm not counting the hours that I'm working. I'm just completing the project. And that just works for me to be able to know, okay, I want to earn $600 in this project or 1,000 or whatever. So what I've done here to just kind of keep track of what I'm doing is I added a materials thing. So once again, these are real numbers. So I ended up spending $350 on the wood alone, $95 on the steel, Amazon, which I think that was the barn door hardware. That was about $70. Hardware, which was screws, some other things that drawer pulls. I can't remember exactly. It's about $25. Finish was $100. The client gift was $50. Now, if you notice here, the profit that I have here is actually $770. Why is that? Because I didn't make as many mistakes as I thought, which is great. The less mistakes that you make, the more I'm making when it comes to profit. And so, for me, if I would say I made a mistake and I have to go buy my wood and I have to spend only $100, then I have the formula ready to where, okay, this is how much materials or money I've spent in materials. This is how much I have left before I fulfill this bottom line, the 860. Let's say that I spend $70 on miscellaneous stuff. Then now I have zero left for materials. So if I have to spend 50 more, now it starts eating into my profit. And that's why, you want to be able to hopefully plan this amount as perfectly as you can so that your profit stays clean. And so let's take that back, because in this project I made more than 600. I made about 700. Maybe there might be something else that I spent that I forgot to put here. I was able to make more than what I wanted, so that's great. I can see how much I'm spending. I can see the process, almost like a PO system, I guess, that I've created for myself, and it works for me. So I hope that makes sense. It's pretty simple. I start with how much it's going to cost me. I add those percentages, and then I add how much I want to make. And again, the more that I've built furniture, I'm starting to realize, okay, this is a fair project. It's a fair amount to ask for this specific project. Is work for me. It's not a perfect system, but I want to share with you guys, and hopefully it's helpful. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have this pricing sheet on my website. If you want to come see it for free, get it and then modify it as you wish. Like I said, it's not mine. I kind of borrow from different places, so it is there for you guys to come see it and use it as you please. If you have any questions, please let me know. You know what to do. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, whatever you want to do. It's fine with me. With that said, I'll see you guys on the next one. Pura Vida.